welcome back. We are finally live again. Today we are going to be designing this completely awesome UI in front of me. This is our amazing plant slider which we've just now decided to design, and I just want to demonstrate right off the bat without any intros what exactly it is that we're going to be making today, because it is super duper special. This is the complete plant slider that we're making today. We are back again with one of our iconic lives, and this is the complete slider that we're making. A very modern look, a very modern color palette, and very modern fonts to go along with it. This is again one of the best UIs we've done in a really long time. You can go back, you can go forth. It is technically supposed to be a part of an larger than life platform where you can buy and sell these plants, and the very simplistic approach, very bare minimum approach that we take with each of these elements is just so insane. Again, you can go back and forth, and all of these colors, every single plant just works so well on so many levels. This is just completely awesome as a build to watch, as something to add to your portfolio. Welcome back to the 100 Days of UI Design Challenge. We are back again, and now we're going to be going live every single day, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time or 2:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Today we are going to be designing this unbelievable UI, and again, this is completely navigable by mouse or cursor. You can use it. Hold on, we're live. You can use your cursor to go back and forth. You can change the names, the colors change as well. There is this really nice morph effect that happens when you go from one image to the other. Super duper excited for what we're going to be designing today. Say hi in the chat, let me know where you're from. Let's just get started. This is so awesome. We're back again, and I have great news now that we're live every single day. Starting today, once again, we're going to be going live every single day, same time, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time or 2:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So that is insane. Anyways, this is the UI that we're going to be making. Say hi in the chat. Let's get started. All right. So the very first thing you absolutely need to do is obviously go join the Discord group. All of the images that we use here you can find inside of the description in the Discord group. And of course, if you don't yet have these images, you can use any images that you find on stock image platforms, on various platforms where you can find images. Let's just get started. The very first thing you need to do, MTG says hi from Nigeria. Hi, welcome. We are designing this unbelievably awesome UI design in Figma. The very first thing you obviously need to do is have Figma installed. If you don't yet have Figma installed, what in the world are you doing? Go to figma.com/downloads. Don't just go to figma.com. That's just going to open up your files for you. Figma.com/downloads is where you go to download your Figma from. You can download this for Mac OS or Windows. And once you have your complete Figma UI installed, this is the point where you're going to be greeted with a screen that looks kind of like this. You're probably not going to have these projects, but there is going to be a screen nonetheless. So you're just going to go ahead and click on new design file, the simplest thing in the whole world. Very simple stuff. And now this is going to create a completely new design for us. Very simple stuff. The very first thing we need to do here is obviously create a frame. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to go right here, click on MacBook Pro 14 or 16, depending on whichever you like. For this one, we're using the largest size we have, MacBook Pro 16. And one of the reasons I don't recommend building out your own frame, even though you could just select frame and build out your own, one of the reasons I don't recommend it at all is because when you go to the prototype settings in Figma, if you've chosen a preset frame that Figma already provides, now you have the ability to prototype it using one of their very specific device covers, which means now that I prototype this, I'm going to be greeted with the actual laptop skin, which wouldn't happen if you made your own and your sizes were different. It would either crop out or look really weird. So this is the simplest hack to get that done. Once you have your frame created, once you have something on your screen, this is the point where we're going to start with our images. So we obviously need to have all of our images. If you don't yet have images, you can get all of these images on the Discord group, background removed and everything. You don't really have to worry about it at all. You can just go to the description of this video, go join the Discord group, and you'll find all of these images. And now I'm just going to get these images right here. So they are labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, depending on the number where we're placing them in the slider at. So I'm just going to get these arranged in the exact order in which we're going to be using them. So this is 1, 2, 3, and then we also have, this is 4, I believe. this is the fifth one and this is the sixth one. So one of the reasons we need to get this in order is because now that we're going to be sorting through these, now that we're going to be building out a complete actual slider, you need to be able to navigate between all of these images. You need to know which comes first and which comes last. So now that we have our images with us, this is the point where we're going to start breaking down our very first UI. So the very first UI in this whole design is this, and this is what we're going to be working with now. So the very first thing you obviously need to do is add your image in the very center. And once you do have your image, let's just copy and paste this image. You can find all of these images in the Discord group, which is linked in the description. It is also the greatest UI design community in the world. Go join right now. Alright, now that we have that settled, let's just place this right here in the center. You can shift this a little bit on the y-axis, just a little bit lower, or don't do it at all, just align it perfectly in the center. Both of these are completely valid choices. And now we're going to be creating a circle. So you're just going to go right here, go to ellipse, and it is at this point that we're going to press shift. Always press shift while creating circles. This creates really nice equal circles for you. And we're going to slightly offset it on the outside. Right click, send it to the back. We're going to select our actual frame. And one of the reasons I really want this frame to have a very specific color is because this flower has pink as its main theme color. When you listen to what your images do, you're going to have pretty looking results. So in all of these UIs, the one thing that has remained consistent is this image is pink, hence the background is pink. If you go to the next one, this image is green, which is why the background sort of remains green. The next one is sort of purple, and so the background remains purple. When you listen to what your image tells you, you're automatically going to end up with a UI that looks 1,000 times better. So we're just going to agree to that very simple rule. Say hi in the chat, everyone. Welcome to the 100 Days of UI Design. This is day 36, and we're going to be going live every single day from today onwards. And also we went live a couple of days ago. So every single day, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time or 2:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. All right. Now that we have our image, we're going to follow a very simple rule. We're going to listen to what the actual color of the image is, which is a shade of pink. And there isn't any specific shade that I want you to copy right off the bat with the hex code. You're just going to go to the image, use the color picker, get a bright shade of pink that you like, and of course work with it, adjust it until you reach a point where you're happy with the way it looks. And the circle is actually the simpler thing to do, so you don't really have to worry about which shade of circle to get. You just have to change the color of the circle to a pure white and then reduce its opacity to about 60% and just bring it down from there. And I feel like 44 is a really good number to stop at. And no matter what color you use, the good smart approach with this whole thing is no matter what color you have in the background, this white is just a lighter variation of that, so you can't really go wrong with it at all. And this is the simplest, easiest way I could break it down. The font that we're using today is actually very interesting. It is CHEEE Chi variable, and it is in fact an Adobe font. So let's just talk about fonts for a moment. You can find a lot of free fonts on Google Fonts, but if at some point you realize your designs are getting boring, which does happen because most fonts on Google Fonts are sort of free and open for public license. But the issue that happens when you have free and public licensed open images is now all of these fonts are heavily overused. So I just want to get into that for a little bit because I feel like this is a very important distinction that we have to make as designers at some point, and we've just never done that. Say hi in the chat, everyone. Welcome to the 100 Days of UI Design stream. We're going to be going live every single day. And hold on, let me just get this off screen. All right, so I just want to talk about fonts for a little while. This is Google Fonts. It gives you completely free fonts, which you can use as you wish. And there are a bunch of really cool choices. But almost all of these fonts are either very similar to most fonts present in every single UI design of the world, or they're heavily overused. And what that leads you to do is that leads to a point where something like this could never happen. So if you relied on Google Fonts alone, unless there's a weird use case, something like this, it would be really difficult for something like this to happen. But I do have a free alternative for those watching as well. So in case you have Adobe Fonts, you do work with paid fonts, you do work with minimal subscription level fonts, the best font you're going to find is CHEEE variable. And then I'm also going to get into one of the fonts which you can use if you are still on Google Fonts, just using the free and open source versions, just getting started. Both of those are completely valid options, but I feel like Google Fonts are so heavily overused at this point that typography variation is just really difficult to come across. So the font that we're using for this UI is Chi variable. But if you don't have that, you can just go right here to Google Fonts, search for OI. This is a brilliant font that is by Costas Barkotas, and it just substitutes so well. So I'm just going to show you an example. If I would just change this out to OI, it would actually still look good, and you would obviously have to make sure the case is set to capital, and also the font size needs to be reduced a little bit. So that is always an important distinction, but I just want to make it clear, if you don't have Chi variable, if you don't have aggressively commercialized sort of fonts that you need to buy, OI is a really good alternative. So there are very few fonts inside of Google Fonts which can sort of substitute. If you don't have Adobe Fonts, if you don't have any of these paid libraries, although I would recommend Chi variable from Adobe Fonts, if you don't have it, OI from Google Fonts is the free and open source thing to use. So I do have Chi variable right here, so I'm just going to stay with it, and I'm just going to make sure my font size is back up again. So sometimes size discrepancies will happen, but that isn't something we need to worry about. Meanwhile, say hi in the chat, everyone. Welcome to the 100 Days of UI Design live. If you're new here, subscribe. Let's get started. All right, so the very first thing we need to do is obviously add a text box. So the name of this specific flower is Sugar Bud. So we're just going to have to copy and paste. We're just going to have to type that out. Sugar Bud. Very simple stuff. And obviously we're going to increase this font size by a whole lot. Let's go 246. If you're using Chi variable, you can go in 190. If you can go towards 190 if you're going with OI as the free and open source alternative. So you're just going to go right here, click on Chi variable, and now that you have this really pretty looking text paragraph ready, I just want you to align it perfectly at the top. Make sure it's aligned in the center. If you can't do that, just click on this button and it's just going to align it horizontally in the center. And with that, now we have this title sorted out, and this title literally makes 90% of what this UI is, which is why we're sort of halfway done. Like, this is a really good place to congratulate ourselves. Like, we've started 12 minutes ago and we're already really close to what we started with. You could adjust these shades, play around with them, see what you like best. There is a little bit of a elbow room window where you can just play around with colors and you'll still not mess it up. So you can go towards red or pink, and I feel like all of these would be really good choices. The next thing we obviously need to add is a sans serif font, the font for most of your text, the font for the boring stuff, the font for what descriptions people want to read. And the font that we're using here is obviously my favorite font in the whole world, Outfit. So we're just going to go right here, type a couple of words out. You just need to have some words out in Figma just so you can start typing them out. Meanwhile, let's change this font to Outfit. Do you have a favorite font? If you're watching this live, comment down below what your favorite font is. Maybe we'll substitute your favorite font out for this one. That would be awesome. Like, comment down your favorite font and maybe we'll swap it out, and we'll see what differences it does in terms of results. That would be quite awesome. Anyways, the description that we're adding over here is a very just small one, so we're just going to have to copy and paste this. If you are watching live and building live, I'd suggest pausing this video at this point, typing it out, and that would lead you to a place where you can successfully paste this. So we're going to go right here and just paste our description, and now we're going to start to style this. So let's just reduce the font size. Let's select this whole thing, and we're going to reduce the font size. Let's go with 36. Let's also increase the font weight, because sometimes when you increase the font weight and decrease the size, the text still remains readable. If you reduce the font size and also the font weight, text readability is going to suffer by a whole lot. That's another different can of worms that I just don't want to get into today. Anyways, the font weight that we're using for this one is medium. Font size is 36. You can vacillate between 32 and 36. It's all going to end up looking fine. And of course, one of our primary goals in our heads is just to have this whole thing equal out. So if your text box looks a little like this, you might want to sort of bring it back, make sure everything is perfectly aligned in its certain rectangle, and that just makes life very, very easy for you. And now that we have this with us, the next thing we need to add is obviously a star rating. If you're watching live, comment down a number from 1 to 5 below, and we'll take that as the star rating for this UI. Alright, so we're just going to go right here and get ourselves a new star. So the way we're going to do that is just go down here to our assets, actions, and we're going to search for Iconify. So let's just type out ICONIFY. And now that we have Iconify loaded with us, we're going to search for star. Just very, very simple stuff. And you can select any sort of star that you want. I'm just going to get this one, and I'm going to import this as a frame. And the good thing with Iconify is all of these icons are free and open source to use. You can just work with them, move them around, and have a lot of fun with them, essentially. I'm going to reduce the size here because this seems a little too big. Hold up. I'm going to reduce the size here, and one of the constant topics that we've discussed is in all of these UI design streams is the color schemes. So obviously we're going to have to think about the color scheme as well. One of the comments say the number 5, so 5 is again the 5-star rating that we're using for this UI. We're going to copy and paste 5 different stars, very, very simple stuff, and then we're going to get into the color scheme a little bit, because that is again another thing that sort of needs to be unraveled. Let's just get all of these selected. So you're just going to press shift and select all of these stars at once. Zoom in if you need to. You're going to find this blue and white lined button, and you're just going to click it. And what this is going to do is, you're going to press shift, essentially select all of these, and you're going to click on the blue button, and this is just going to make sure everything is perfectly spaced apart. And from under the layout section, you can adjust the spacing. And now we have something that looks sort of like this, a really, really nice looking star rating. And then we'll get into the color scheme, obviously. Let's change the color of this to black, and now let's talk about the color scheme a little bit. So for the entirety of this UI, and this remains a constant theme across, for the entirety of this UI, we take one color from our image and then we make that the hero color. The color of the circle is essentially a supportive actor to the hero color, and it sort of works along with the color to make the whole thing shine, but we don't have any accent colors as such. And when you don't select any accent color, when the color from each slide changes drastically, so you have colors like purple and orange, which are very, very far apart on the color scheme, essentially opposites. It is at this point you want to stick with the two colors which you physically can't go wrong with, pure black, pure white, and you're going to sort of vacillate between those two. So we have pure white with us. The only color we can use to show that we're interested in this one object is pure black, which is why very, very logically this is now going to get a star rating of 5-star. And you can, and this is something that just occurred to me, you can actually reduce the font size of this section to as much as you want if you keep on increasing the font weight. So if you increase the font weight to be thick enough, you can reduce the font size by a whole lot, make it take a lot less space, and it would still be readable. That's just a really, really good design hack. Alright, let's now talk about these two buttons. So these are the next two buttons that we're going to be building out, and we're going to be taking a look at the simplest way in which, like in the whole world, you can build out a button. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to create a simple text box, add it here, and type out add to cart. If you're new here, subscribe, make sure to like this video, make sure to leave a comment, and now we're going to be creating a very, very simple button. So you're just going to go right here, add some text, right click, frame the selection, and you're going to start adding a little bit of padding. So you're going to create an auto layout, and with the auto layout, the only thing we want to achieve is a little bit of padding. So we're just going to go right here to our frame, add an auto layout, and then we're going to pad the left and right and also the top and bottom. We're going to add a fill, add a border radius, because obviously cute buttons need to be rounded off, and the color for the text is going to be black. So we're just going to select text, change the color to black. If your text is in lowercase or isn't all caps, you're going to go right here and change it to be all caps, and then change the font weight a little bit as well, because I feel like this is the part of the UI that needs a lot of attention to itself, and we're just going to place this right here. The next button is essentially inverse of the first button, so we're just going to copy and paste it one more time, put this down here, change it to say buy now, and we'll just make sure this whole button is aligned towards the right, and just select both of these colors and inverse them out. So black is going to be white and white is going to be black, and with that we have a UI that looks a little bit like this. And it is at this point you want to make sure your buttons are equally aligned with your text. Just make sure the spacing and everything makes everything properly aligned. This is very, very important. If your things are not aligned, it will look like crap, but if they are aligned, it'll look good, even if there are a few minor mistakes, minor edges that look weird. Alright, and we're back. So the next thing we're going to build out is obviously the forward and back buttons, which means the next and previous plant image that we're going to be building out. The way we're going to do this is just really, really simple stuff. So firstly, we have to decide which plant goes before and which plant comes next. And this is really, really important, because now you're going to be navigating between different frames, which is the concept of a slider in the first place. And so you need to have the right plant right button on the left, on the right, so that you can navigate with ease. And the way we're going to do that is we're just going to zoom in. Obviously this is number 1, this was number 2, so this is going to be the next one that we click on. We're going to copy and paste this once again. Make sure it is really, really small, so we're going to go right here, make it smaller, place it right here, and leave a little bit of spacing at the bottom. We're just going to make sure this is really, really small, add it right here, and then we're going to go back and select the 6th image, which is the image that would technically come before 1 in an array. Copy and paste it, bring it right here, and just leave it here. And then we're just going to reduce the size once again. The size that we're using here is 284. So we're just going to make sure this is also set to 284. Make sure your width and height are locked, and then you can just physically type out one of these numbers and the other one is just going to follow. Now, one thing to remember here is Figma sometimes is a smart tool, which means it has a brain of its own, it has a logic of its own inbuilt, and with that come a certain level of challenges, which means sometimes it does a little bit of its signature idiosyncrasies that you would not exactly want it to do. For example, this was labeled 6 and it created another copy of it, and it sort of went serial number wise and created number 7. So we don't want that. We still want it to say 6, and the reason for that is if your images have the same exact number as they are supposed to, now you're at a place where smart animate and animation for this whole slider is just going to go like smooth, so super smooth, and that is what we want. So you're just going to eye it just until you're at a place where it looks equal visually. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take a little bit of a moment here to acknowledge what we've just done. We've created the first screen, very first screen of our UI. Look at this. This looks incredible. Like, this honestly looks even better than what we sort of started with. Like, this, just the colors and everything just work a little bit better in my opinion, and this looks super duper pretty. And now that we have this very first screen built with us, this is the point where we're going to be designing our 2nd, 3rd, 4th and each continuous screen. So the way we're going to do that is obviously we're going to go over here to our MacBook Pro 16, copy it and paste it once again. This is now our 2nd screen, and I feel like every single element here is just going to be swapped out, and this now becomes a bigger game of swap out than anything else. So we're just going to get this right here, and we want to basically have this be the thing that sort of enlarges when you click on it. And so we're just going to make this bigger. Don't worry about the pixel resolutions. This image has impeccable scaling ability, which means you can just scale it as much as you want. It won't pixelate, which is happy news for us. We're going to change this to 2 because that is the serial number with us, and obviously this needs to be changed now. So we're just going to go down here, get rid of the first image, and Vishal is here. Vishal is asking us a question. Let's get to that. Can you tell me where we can easily find UI UX designer jobs? I feel like, if I'm being completely honest, you can find, and I get that I'm going to get a lot of anger for this answer, but this has been my honest experience over a really, really long time in this industry. You can find a job anywhere. You can literally find a job anywhere, and I want to break that down a little bit. You can find a job anywhere as long as you have the right skills, and it takes time to build those right skills. It takes a level of proficiency to build those right skills. As long as you have the right portfolio, as long as you have the right skills, and you know how to showcase those skills well, you can literally find a job anywhere. Because every single platform, whether it is Upwork, Fiverr, freelancing side of things, whether it is LinkedIn, Indeed, job.com side of things, every single place that you go looking for an opportunity, there is a listing. And these people who are giving you these listings, whether it's in terms of freelance, whether it's in terms of full-on jobs, are looking for someone in the real world to solve their UI design, UX design problems. And if you have the right skills, you can find a job anywhere. And my personal recommendation is, if you're thinking of going into the freelancing side of things, go to my channel. There is a playlist dedicated to freelancer portfolio projects where you can just go join in, and a whole freelance, and you're going to find a bunch of these projects which are 2 or 3 hour builds, really, really small, short, easy builds for freelancers just starting out. Really, really easy and proficient way for you to showcase what you're actually building out. If you're starting with an entry level UI design job position, there are entry level, medium level, and advanced level UI design tutorial playlists on this channel as well, which you can find. If you're thinking about building your own portfolio, you aren't sure how, we have the Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass happening every single month. You can find the link in the Discord group. Go join it in the description. Figure out how to get your portfolio right. You have to figure out how to get your side of things right, and that is going to be the point where you're actually going to shine amongst a pool of applicants. Because here are 2 harsh truths. There are a bunch of people looking for jobs, and there are a bunch of people who want these jobs. And if you can fit the demands and the glory and the skill levels that are required by the people who want to give you jobs, who are looking for proficient designers, you're going to find an opportunity literally everywhere. And I get that this might be frustrating if you're just starting out, but it is the truth. It is the truth in everything I've seen so far. So that is my very honest answer to you. Vishal asks where we have to go on app or website, and why design. You can join the Discord group, which is just linked in the description, and I feel like design is a very, very powerful way. Why would you choose the field of design, if that's your question? Design is a very powerful tool, and it can literally change the way you look at software as a whole. Like, you could be given one of these outdated non-GUI or really, really terrible GUI 30-year-old UIs, and if you were shown the UIs of today, you would see the visual difference. Like, a thing that looks prettier is automatically deemed better, and this is the aesthetic usability effect. Look it up, it's real. And the people who can solve these problems, make things look pretty, make things look appealing enough, are the people who are designers. And this is why design is such an important thing. Coming from a developer and also a designer who's like done a lot of programming on the professional side of things, you need to be a designer or have design skills to make any software work, like anything at all. App, website, game, whatever it is, design skills are super duper important. You can find them everywhere. The best way to find a job, Vishal, in my opinion, is just be the best designer you can be. Do everything you can do to make it better. The simplest roadmap is build your own portfolio, build out your own projects. You can find every single project you would ever need to build out to land a real job on the playlist section of this channel. Find the Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass within 3 hours. You don't have to worry about the whole programming aspect of things. You have a ready portfolio website with yourself. You can add all of these very, very free, very, very easy to use projects and get started on your designer journey. That's my simplest answer. I hope that answers your question though. If you have any other questions, guys, just leave them in the chat. I am so happy to answer. And if you guys have any other questions after these live streams, and you can ask them in the Discord group as well. That is also linked in the description. I come here live every single day, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and also 2 or 2:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. I'm just messing with all of the time zones in here. Anyways, so before we got into the whole question answer aspect of things, this was the first UI that we had built out, and we're sort of trying to transform this first UI into this second UI, which is amazing. So we're just going to get to do that. So we just obviously need to make sure the image is changed, and now that this image is changed, the previous and next images are also going to be changed. So the previous image is obviously going to be image number 1, which is this one. So we're just going to copy it, and I'm not going to bother with the numbering and the renaming aspect of things. We'll get to it, because right now I'll just start doing things and you won't understand what I'm doing. We'll just go chronologically, and hopefully that'll make things simpler. And if you guys have any questions related to UI UX design, leave them in the chat. I am really, really ready to answer any questions at all. Say hi in the chat, because a lot of people are watching and no hellos in the chat. That's just disappointing. Anyways, this is the third UI. This is the third plant that we're using for this slider. So we're just going to make it smaller, put it right here, and zoom in. If you want to delete the image that's in the background but can't, just lock the image that you have selected, and now you're only able to select one other image. Just lock all of the images that can be selected, and now you only have this one image that can be selected, and you're just going to get rid of it. And with that, you have just delock all of these, open all of these locks, and with that you now have the slider positions for the second slider. I feel like the most technical thing, even though there is a lot of color, typography, design aspects to this whole UI, the most complicated thing for beginners in UI design is just to figure out this next and previous slider logic working, and once you have that figured out, a lot of things are just going to be easier for you. All right, the next thing that we need to take care of is customizing this UI to fit the second frame. So we're just going to go and take a look at what this says. This is petal wing, and the green color is obviously very, very important here as well. So we're just going to go right here, change this to say petal wing. You can capitalize all of these alphabets if they're not already capitalized for you. Click on align horizontal centers to just align your whole thing for you, and obviously the color needs to be the same as the plant. So you're just going to go right here, select your eyedropper, and select a really, really light shade of green that we're using. If it's really difficult to read, you can change the colors a little bit. Just work with one of these colors that are already present here, and I feel like this will give you a very, very liberal choice in terms of choosing. And obviously there needs to be a different description, so we're just going to copy this description, go back here, and also paste here and match the styles. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, make sure to say hi in the chat, and we're really, really happy to have you. All right, great news time. We've built out 2 of these really, really nice looking UIs, and we're so close to getting this slider completed. Like, this is just so awesome. The next thing we need to do is obviously create slide number 3. So we're just going to get this down here, and I want to also bring attention to the fact that sliders are just becoming such a common part of modern UI design. Like, you're seeing them everywhere. I feel like I'm seeing them everywhere now, and people just don't realize how easy it is to get awesome sliders made, and we just sort of forget about them. And that's not really fair though. You can have really, really nice slider designs on your portfolio and have them be really, really nice additions, and they're really, really trendy, relevant things that you can just do as great projects. And now we're just going to we're going to lock this image and select the one that is in our background, get rid of the other one, and this needs to be image number 4 now. So this is image number 4. We're just going to copy and paste it. And obviously we're going to reduce the size once again. This size isn't always equal, so you need to physically reduce it. Let's just place this right here, make sure to lock it, and we're going to go back and get rid of this image. And now you might have to make sure they're sort of equally aligned. If they're not, you might have to shift it above and below. And once that is done, this image has light tints of purple attached to it. So we're obviously going to go here and select the fill, change it back, and it might look a little too light as far as contrast is concerned, so you need to bring it down, make it a little bit darker, and check it out. This actually looks really nice. This looks really nice. What do you think of this UI in itself? Just drop your comments in the live chat, and it'll be so fun to read them. And obviously we need to change the names, so we're just going to go right here. The name for this is Dewdrops, and obviously in our demo UI we went a little bit darker. You can actually play around with these colors, go lighter or darker, as long as it looks good. It should be good. Let's change this to Dewdrops. Really simple stuff. You can align this text in the center as well, and then that's just going to reduce so many headaches. This looks good. And now we're going to change our description once again. So let's just copy it. It doesn't matter if it's not exactly the same shade, as long as it's similar enough, good enough for you. Like, it just needs to be similar to this image. It doesn't matter what exact hex code I've used, what hex code anyone has used. You can play around with it a little bit and still have it make sense. This looks amazing. Alright, I feel like we're halfway done here, and the next 3 that we're going to be building are numbers 4, 5, and 6. So let's just select these, bring them on one side, and now I'm just going to go into speedrun mode. So I'm just going to select all of these at once, copy and paste them, and this is going to be such an effective hack in saving times. Sometimes when you're making actual presentations, it allows you to copy to Figma slides, which is a great feature, just not for this one. This is a UI design slider, so we need to sort of pay our respect to that. Let's get this right here, and obviously you need to copy and paste this. You can find all of these images completely for free in the Discord group, linked in the live chat, linked in the description. Super duper fun, and also the greatest UI design community currently active online. Why would you not? And now we're going to add the UIs that we're going to have before and after. So this is going to be number 3, and this is going to be number 5. This is number 3, this is number 5. Let's just copy and paste it once again. Make it smaller. If you guys have any questions related to UI UX design, any interesting stories, leave them in the chat. Let's put this right here, and now we need to remove what's behind this image. So the way you're going to do that is, you're just going to lock this image in place, and then the only thing that can be selected now, because you've locked the image that we were previously holding, is this image. So we're just going to get rid of this, and I feel like we'd already locked the image in the center, which is actually a smart move, because now you can't move it around, mess up with it a whole lot. And this is number 3. The next image that we're navigating to is number 5. So we're just going to get this 5. I feel like 5 is a really dark gray but beautiful shade in itself. Like, you can't ignore the beauty of this, and there is a reason to it. Like, I want to get into the reason of why this looks so pretty even though it's gray. The reason this looks so pretty even though it's gray is because it uses tints of 2 colors, purple and also green, which are secondary colors, work really well together. And also you're using the 3rd secondary color, which is orange here, very light shades of it. And when you have secondary colors in one single place, even though it's rough, and even though it's dull, and even though it's mixed with gray and brown from the soil, it still leads to magical results. Like, super duper cool tip. You're just going to lock this image here as well, get rid of the one in the background, and with that we have this collection of images ready with us. You can bring this down here, obviously. And now we're just going to change this to orange, because orange is the color that's sort of highlighted here, even though green is common to all plants. We're just going to go right here, select a shade of orange that we like, and obviously you can make it brighter or darker depending on your choice. Let's also take a look at what we're calling this. We're calling this one Misty Bell, so let's just make this a little bit brighter, and also start calling it. You can select colors from here as well, and I feel like this color should be from somewhere a little bit deeper inside the image, but it would still be present and it still looks good. So I'm just going to go along with it. Let's just select this whole thing, make sure everything is perfectly aligned in the center, and change this to Misty Bell. Let's align this perfectly in the center. Oops, I can't spell. I swear to God, on these live streams, I have such a hard time spelling. This is horrible, like weird and horrible. Anyways, with that, we have the title ready with us. We obviously need some description. So let's just get this description. If you're watching and making this live, I'd suggest pausing at this point and just pasting here with the exact same style. So this is a wine that thrives in utter darkness and feeds on shadows. If you need to type any of these out, you can just pause this video right here and you'll find all of these descriptions ready. And obviously, the next thing that we're building out is number 5. So we're just going to go right here. Obviously, the most important part is swapping out images. So let's just copy and paste this. Again, type I in the chat if you're going to be making this one at home. Like I really want to know. And if you guys make any of these UIs and just complete them, tag me on Instagram, tag me on Twitter, tag me wherever you are. All of my social media is in the description. That would be awesome. Let's also get the previous and the next image. So the previous image is number 4, which we just did, which is going to copy and paste this, zoom in. Make sure to like this video, make sure to subscribe, because come on, we're watching a UI design stream on an 8 p.m. Tuesday. Don't act like you aren't a fan of UI. Don't act like you're too cool for this. Come on, subscribe. And obviously we're going to select the image in the background, delete it. Make sure everything is unlocked, make sure everything is big enough. And now we're going to be getting the image that is next, which is image number 6. Awesome. Let's get image number 6. Really simple stuff. Let's just get this right here. We're going to zoom in, make it smaller, obviously. And we're just going to place this right here, go to the image in the background, get rid of it. This is a really gray-green shade of things. So we're just going to select this frame, get a color from the color picker tool inside. This is the shade that we've gotten it, and it actually is on the greener side of things. Like, you could go on the more purple side of things as well, and both of them actually look incredible. In fact, since this is a secondary color palette sort of image, you could also go on the more orange shade of things, and that would still work well. But I feel like I was just really happy when the green kicked in, and I'm just going to stay happy with the green. Even though it's a really dull shade, it just looks so good, and I'm just going to stick with it. Gray fluff is what we're calling this. The color that we've chosen is a little bit more green, but what the hell? Grey fluff it is. Not grey fluff, grey fluff. I swear to God, someone is really laughing on my terrible spelling in the middle of these live streams. A font that turns black during eclipses, and glows fairly at night. So we're just going to copy and paste this. Paste it and match style. If it goes to the other line, just make sure everything just adjusts perfectly. You can adjust these star ratings, but since we are the ones designing our UIs, why in the world would any of these have a star rating below 5? Like if you could do it for fun, just reduce these star ratings, maybe change it back to a half, and I want to show you how to change it to a half. So I'm just going to do that. We're just going to double click on the vector, make sure your vector is selected, go to the pen tool, match one of these to the others. You can even go quarter or any other fractions, and once you have this area selected, this is the other side that we're going to get rid of now. So just select any one of these points, delete it, and now when you add a fill, only this part of the shape is a closed shape, and with that you can actually add a half. So I hope that was clear, and I feel like now you're very well armed to do half and full star reviews, but I personally love 5-star reviews, and I'm just not going to change it at all. The next thing that we're building out is, you guessed it, slide number 6, Twinkle Boo, green strange weed which grows faster when time seems to slow down. I don't even know what it means, but we're so far ahead, I'm just going to stick with it. And if you haven't yet subscribed, you know what I'm going to say. Subscribe. Let's change the text this time. Like, we haven't ever done this before. Let's change the text. I feel like the name was Twinkle Boo. Why is this not fitting? Did we miss something? Is the font size considerably smaller? What happened? Why? Twinkleboo. I feel like we shouldn't have added the N for some reason. I'm not sure what Twickleboo is, but you know what? It's a name of a fictional plant, you guys. I'm just going to go ahead with it. Don't take it too super duper seriously. If you do, you're in for a disappointment. All right, let's get our last image in here. We're going to copy and paste it once again. All of these images are completely free and available on our Discord group. Link in the description. Make sure to join. I want to see you there. Let's place this right here. We can make it smaller, obviously. Let's lock this in place. And obviously get rid of the image in the background. You can unlock it later because you might want to move it around a little bit, and that's just common, and that's just okay. You're going to select this. Oops, I feel like we locked our image in place. Which is going to select this image. This is number 5, and it's just going to come right before number 6. So obviously it needs to be here. Let's make it even smaller. Make sure it's approximately the same size. And then let's lock it in place and get rid of the last one. Let's lock it in place and then get rid of the image in the background. Make sure to open the lock later, so just so you can move around and have fun with whatever you're building. And the last image that we're going to add here is number 1. Let's go right here, copy and paste it back again and put it right here. We're going to zoom in, make it smaller, and the color that we're using for this page is, take a guess, take a wild shot. I'm going to give you a moment. Let's place this right here and get rid of the image in the background. The color that we're placing right here is, you guessed it, green, because what other choices do we have? This is such a simple plant, really the most basic of all plants in the world, simplest thing to ever have happened to humanity. Green plant. Wow, how innovative. Completely unexpected, out of left field. If you're not happy with the common shades of green, and I feel like green is the most difficult shade to master, especially on the hex code palette, 6ECD45 is a genius shade to work with. Just copy out the hex code. I am going to copy the text and just paste it right there using the same style. And then we're going to get to the interesting part, which is animation. Speaking of animation, I've been shouting in an animated voice for a really long amount of time, which means I need to drink water. And so do you. After that excruciatingly long break, we are back. Now that we have all of these UIs ready with us, firstly, can we just take a moment to appreciate the effort we've put over the last hour into creating this unbelievably awesome UI? Like, just can we just acknowledge how pretty it looks? I think it looks extremely pretty. This is amazing. The next thing we obviously need to do is animate stuff. So let's just talk about animations for a little bit, which is going to select this, add an interaction, and obviously the first thing we need to do is go to our next page. So you're just going to go on click, action is going to be navigate to, destination is going to be MacBook Pro 2 because that's where we're going. Animation style is always going to be smart animate. People miss out on this all the time, and this leads to complete disasters. Animation style has to be smart animate, curve has to be ease out. You know what, you can go with the quick, gentle, bouncy. I feel like gentle could be a fun thing to try out. Let's change this timer back to 500 because 800 milliseconds is really close to a whole second, which is 1000 milliseconds. Not what we want. 500 is a good number to stop at. The good thing with Figma is you can actually store these things that you've done. So smart animate, timing feature, and also the duration is going to be stored automatically. So you can just drag and drop all of these interactions next to each other, and that is hopefully going to, I feel like we made a mistake here. This shouldn't have been the image. This should have been the entirety of the UI. So when you click on the UI, it automatically goes to the next one. That's just the most basic slider thing that you can do. And I also want to get, you know what, I feel like you could do this, but hold on, I want to get a little bit more specific, and I apologize if this is confusing. I want to get a little bit more specific before we talk about animations. So you can navigate in sliders two ways. You can either click on a slide and it goes to the next one, or you can use the exact images that we've built out for navigation. So this is going to be the next image. We're going to click on it and obviously go to the next frame. All of these settings are going to be the same: smart animate, gentle, 500 milliseconds, navigate to, and your destination. And now this is the image that was built out to go to the next frame, and it's just going to do just that. So I feel like this is the better option to use. Like, you could click on the entire frame as well, but who does that? We're smarter than that. Let's make the smarter choice. And obviously, do not forget to link your last stream to the first one. People forget this all the time, and it leads to terrible consequences. Do not forget it. Let's also link the first frame to the last one, and these are going to go essentially in reverse. All of these are going to be the same, but your navigation is going to reverse itself. Just very, very simple stuff. You could animate entire frames, but I feel like it's just better this way. And now there is one other thing I want to talk about, which is most things in Smart Animate won't work unless Smart Animate knows they are the same thing, which means that this image here, and also here needs to have the same exact name for Smart Animate to do its Smart Animate magic, which means this has to be named 1, this has to be named 1, not 7, which is going to double click and fix it. This has to be named 1 as well. And for this magic to actually work, these have to be named the same for this to sort of go up and down, because these are 3 different states that we're going between. And we're just going to do that once again. This is going to be number 2, this is going to be number 2, and this needs to be number 2 as well. Just make sure that is fixed up. This needs to be number 3, this is number 3. We need to double click and change it to number 3 if it isn't set to number 3. This needs to be number 3 as well. If you guys type R in the chat, we're going to go to the Discord group after we're done with this design, and we're going to review a little bit of the new stuff that's come in. People who have designed awesome things for us. We'll take a look at reviewing those as well. Like, that used to be a fun thing we used to do, and I feel like we should do it again. Alright, now that we have this done, we're going to go to the 4th image. Make sure it's renamed the same. Type R in the chat if you want to see us do design reviews of stuff subscribers of this channel have made. Like, that would be awesome. Let's change this to 4. We're going to change this to 5. Obviously, go right here, change this to 5. And lastly, this is now going to be 6. So we're just going to double click and type out 6. 6 is done. Done is 6. And I feel like with that, we're almost done with the whole thing, which is awesome. Now I'm just going to try to smart animate this. Not entirely sure if it's going to work, but even if it doesn't, we sort of have the benefit of the doubt. Let's get rid of these just to avoid confusion. We have a couple of projects inside of the Discord group, and I'll go to them because of requests in the comments. Let's take a look at what's happening here. So this is janky right off the bat. This is janky. This is entirely janky. This does not work, which is a little bit weird. I feel like there is a renaming problem right here, but other than that, it actually looks quite good, and it actually works quite well, and it's pretty much the smoothest thing you could hope for. But this is still bothering me, so I do want to get this fixed. Where was the number 1 error? I feel like this didn't animate as well as we wanted it to, so we just need to make sure everything is renamed properly. Let's get this animated. there might this is where we were messing things up. This needs to be renamed to 3 because this is the third one, and I feel like you can miss out on it you can miss out on things like these all the time. And what can you do? Like, just fix it. If it's a small number sort of error, just fix it. This is also renamed 2 for some reason. Weird. Either that or I'm really, really terrible at naming things. Let's get this fixed up and hopefully we'll have something nice to present. Let's see if it works. So far it's exactly how we'd want it to work. Looks quite nice. If you want to increase the bounce, you can just change the animation timing feature to bounce instead of gentle, and that'll make things fun. Let's go back and I'm going to share this prototype with everyone in the chat as well, so you can find this in the live chat. Hold on, let's get this in the live chat. And I feel like that is pretty much it for this UI. If you've watched this far, thank you so much for watching. I feel like there are a lot of projects in the Discord review that we wanted to do. Let's just paste it in the live chat. And oops, I feel like it's a little too long. Anyways, you can find this UI linked in the description. I'll just get it done and get it linked in the description, hopefully shorten the URL, and also in the comments. You can find it literally everywhere. If you're looking for all of these images that we've used, you can find them in the Discord group as well. There, I did want to do Discord UI reviews for a bit, but now that I'm thinking about it, we have a lot of them. So I do want to do a separate video on that. I'm sorry if this was a little bit disappointing in the end, but overall this is one of the really nicer UI designs we've done for complete genuine projects built in under 1 hour. Super duper awesome. If you watched this far, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video tomorrow, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time or 2:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, whichever is sooner. In fact, they're both the same. And I'll obviously see you in another video as well. So I will see you again soon. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.